Hello and welcome to DCN Weekly, your regular roundup of Australia's shipping, ports and logistics news. This episode is for the week ending 3rd of October 2025. I'm Lindsay Reid, publisher at DCN.
And I'm David Sexton.
And Alan is joining us again this week all the way from WA. Welcome, Alan.
Thanks, Lindsay. Good to be here.
Well, we've had lots of news from the ports lately. Port of Brisbane recently releasing their impressive Vision 2060, which was 3 years in the making, as well as their sustainability report. And then this week, Port of Newcastle achieving top GRESB score of 100. And then, Alan, yesterday, you had the opportunity to sit down with Port of Darwin CEO Peter Dummett to discuss their newly released master plan.
Yes, sure did. It was great to chat to Peter, and you can read the full interview on the website this week. Peter joined Port of Darwin in 2011 and, of course, became CEO in 2022. And is now overseeing the port's master plan.
Yes, and this is a pretty impressive blueprint from what I understand. It's a 30-year vision, is that correct?
Yeah, 30 years. We discussed quite a few elements around the planning and proposed outcomes, and I asked him about the plan's key priorities.
Okay, well, let's hear a little of what he had to say.
Look, we have a fairly unique advantage in Darwin considering the type of port we are. We're a multi-industry, multi-commodity port. We've got existing capacity in the infrastructure to service all of those industry sectors. The master plan has been developed over the last couple of years to set us up for that future development as that demand grows.
And presumably you've been working in conjunction with territory and federal governments and NT port users.
And this project started just over 2 years ago, and the initial phase was talking to stakeholders. We're talking about industry groups, mining proponents, operators, existing customers, and what is their look ahead for their business. And from that, we accumulated a lot of data. That's gone into a model, and out of that model, we've come up with some priorities around growth. And certainly, obviously, we work very close with the Northern Territory government. We've involved them in those discussions.
And will Lambridge fund these developments, or are you looking for partnerships?
The model is not to have partnerships. It'll very much depend upon the actual cost, obviously. Our view is we're not going to spend a lot of money without a fairly robust business case, and depending on what that business case looks like, what funding we need to seek, that'll make those decisions on where we go to for that funding.
So, and in spite of concerns by the Liberal and Labor parties about Lambridge's Chinese ownership of the 99-year port lease, looks like you're digging in for the long term.
Look, I've been here for the long term. I'm coming up to 14 years. Politics is not a game I like to play in. At the end of the day, we have a port to run. Whatever happens in the background, as far as we're concerned, is business as usual. We stay out of the rhetoric. We grow the team to expand the port, and we've done that quite successfully over the last 3 years.
And Darwin Port's master plan lines up with Northern Australia's long-term economic goals?
Absolutely, and that's come about interaction with our stakeholders, discussions with government. Our approach is very much about engagement and understanding what the needs are likely to be well into the future.
Now, I know you discussed a number of other things that are covered in the article, such as funding, strategy, infrastructure upgrades and the like. But what were some of the other things that you and Peter discussed?
Yes, we had a pretty comprehensive interview and covered all those things and more. One of the topics we asked them about was how their role supported Australia's sovereign maritime capability and regional security interests.
It's a good question. And one of the little-known facts about Darwin Port is that we are historically one of the busiest defence ports in the country, and that's primarily come about by our strategic location. We have a really good relationship with defence, not only Australian but our allies as well. We have the US Marines rotation comes through the port every 12 months. A lot of equipment comes through the port for that. We're extremely supportive in major defence exercises. We have on average, nearly 100 defence-related vessel visits a year and many hundreds of thousands of tonnes of cargo that does come through the port. I sit on the National Board of Ports Australia, and we have been mentioned in dispatches through Ports Australia that we are the benchmark port when it comes to defence relationships. And we do that because we've done it for a long time and we understand what the needs are. So very comfortable with our dealings with defence and how that will look moving forward.
Yes, as well as defence, cruising takes a role in the plan.
Yes, the master plan encompasses the Fort Hill Wharf facility that's used for naval vessels and cruise ships. So I asked Peter how significant the cruise industry is going to be for Darwin into the future.
It's a real area of growth for us at the moment. Our first full year post the pandemic broke our record quite substantially, and in the last financial year we did 117 cruise ships. Industry are telling us that the growth there is seen as about 5% per annum year on year, certainly over the next 5 to 10 years. We have that dedicated facility at Fort Hill Wharf adjacent to the Central Business District, which is extremely attractive to cruise. I did mention we do share that with Defence from time to time. When I explain this to people, and I tell them that cruise gets the priority, and that's easy to manage because cruise gives us up to 3 years notice that they will arrive at 0700 on a given date, and they do. Defence tell us that they might come next week. When they tell us that, we have a look, and if we've got a cruise ship booked in, we tell them to come the day after or the day before. It's very easy to manage, but the balance is there.
Yes, certainly another one of Australia's very diverse ports. And a lot more is covered, as you say, in your interview, Alan.
Yes, it'll be in full on our website next week. So head to the dcn.com.au to read that. And our thanks to Peter for taking the time to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to Peter. Well, from ports to shipping lines, and Hapag-Lloyd's been making news this week.
Yes, Hapag-Lloyd and DHL Global Forwarding have signed a 3-year framework agreement for the purchase of Scope 3 greenhouse gas emission reductions resulting from the use of sustainable marine fuels within Hapag-Lloyd's fleet.
And there's been quite a bit of detail around this agreement, but in a nutshell, what does it entail?
Essentially, Hapag-Lloyd and DHL have teamed up to reduce Scope 3 emissions using sustainable marine fuels. Their first order covers 25,000 tonnes of CO2 equivalent, and they're using a book and claim system so customers can claim the emissions reduction without physically receiving the fuel.
Okay, and why is this book and claim approach important for the shipping industry?
It allows companies to take real climate action now, even though sustainable marine fuels are still limited and more expensive. By separating the emissions reduction from the physical fuel, more customers can participate in decarbonisation early, helping the industry move towards net zero faster.
Okay, and separately to this, Hapag-Lloyd has also joined the shipping lines who are shunning the USTR fees, David.
Yes, stating that they will not implement any surcharges related to this measure at this time. And this comes as Chinese Premier Li Qiang was reported by Splash 24/7 to have signed a State Council decree stating that China will take countermeasures against countries imposing similar measures targeting Chinese operators, vessels or crew.
Yes, an ongoing issue, and we've yet to see how the fees in the US will be collected. There's certainly going to be plenty more news on this one to come. Well, changing gears a little, a story that got a lot of attention on our site this week concerned remote pilotage, Alan.
Yes, the International Maritime Pilots Association, in collaboration with the Canadian National Centre of Expertise on Maritime Pilotage and the Canadian Coast Guard, have combined to investigate the technical readiness of remote pilotage.
And what did they find?
The first report on remote pilotage has revealed both the promise and the hurdles of navigating ships remotely. While the technology could work in ports and rivers, there are issues with system redundancy, situational awareness, and close-quarter manoeuvring. IMPA says more work is needed before meaningful trials can happen.
Okay, well, we'll follow that one with interest as well. And finally today, after some speculation, DCN can confirm that Smit Lamnalco is officially rebranding under Beluda Towage Australia.
Yes, DCN's Dale Crisp was the first to speculate in his article back in August as to who the buyer might be, but nothing was confirmed. But today, the official word is out and new branding is in progress. The acquisition adds 39 modern and versatile tugs to Beluda's network, along with operations in 9 key ports and a regional headquarters in Sydney. David Feathers, now CEO, MD of Beluda Towage Australia, said, "In short, while ownership changes, our focus does not. We remain committed to delivering first-class towage services across Australia, Papua New Guinea, and the wider region."
Yes, and Smit Lamnalco, or should I say Beluda Towage Australia, is the sponsor of this year's Safety Award at the DCN Awards, so we'll be proud to be one of the first places to display their new branding there. And speaking of the awards, finalists are soon to be released, so stay tuned to DCN. The Customer Service Award survey is also up on the website, so we do encourage you to have your say there. And David, we are changing things up a bit this year with the Liner Trade Awards.
Yes, we've introduced a survey element to that category this year, so keep an eye on the website and your inbox for that and make sure you have your say.
The awards are so close now. It's crazy how fast this year is going. Well, that is it from us this week. As always, please do drop us a line at editorial@thedcn.com.au if you have any comments, tips or tip-offs.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you, and don't forget to make sure you're signed up to the Newswire for daily updates.
Yes, absolutely. David, Alan, thanks to you both. That's all from us. We'll catch you next week.